Hi, this time I would like to show you something different. I will guide you through the whole process of how I'm changing the analog stick modules to the new TMR from Favor Union. The whole video is speed up twice, but you can slow it down on YouTube and you can basically see how I'm doing all the stuff without having any kind of sophisticated tools, just having my basic stuff. Enjoy. Alright, so here is our controller, an Icon Blue straight from USA, and I'm presenting all the tools that I'm using to change the modules. As you can see, these are Favor Union TMR sticks. And now I'm showing 430 Celsius degrees isopropyl alcohol, something to clean up the stuff, and let's disassemble the control case. We have 4 screws in total in the shell, so 2 of the screws are hidden under the L1 and R1 buttons, and the next 2 screws are hidden under this front panel that I'm disassembling right now. You need to be a little bit careful because it is quite easy to break it. Now we are unscrewing all the stuff. Now the other side. And now we can start pulling those 2 pieces, 2 halves of the control case. And as you can see, done. Now we will remove the battery. Under the battery you have another screw that we need to remove. We can take out this case that battery was in. Now we need to take care of the microphone connector, all the analog cables and all the stuff. Basically we need to get into the motherboard and take it out completely from the shell. You can see I'm very careful but with removing the microphone tape. It's very delicate. And now we need to desolder 4 cables that are responsible for our vibration motors and the haptic mechanism that is under L2 and R2 buttons. And done. Now we can remove the whole motherboard. All the stuff that is not needed right now we can take aside. Pull out those sticks, the speaker. Now I'm disconnecting those resistors that are part of the standard analog modules. We need to desolder them first. Just to let you know, I will cut the whole analog modules because I don't use any sophisticated tool to remove the whole analog modules at once. So I'm showing you how you can do this without those tools. So I add a bit of solder. Now I will remove all the potentiometers. 1, 2. This one is a bit harder to get out. I burned myself a little bit there, but not my first time. Okay. And now I will add more iron to the all the rest of pins, just to make the melting temperature a little bit lower to the standard solder that was used by Sony. Now I will take the pliers, 1 second. Yep, and we need to cut through the metal on each corner. You need to cut through this to disconnect all the 4, I would say, walls around these modules. You need to have really sharp pliers because the metal is pretty tough, I would say. Now we can bend it a little bit around and just forcefully remove the hole inside of the module. Now those side walls you need to cut in half, so it will be easy to remove them, to desolder them. Okay, a little bit of cleanup, and now I will put my board into the vise or holder. Don't worry, I will move my bench a little bit to you, yeah. And now I will just put my soldering iron and take out those metal elements of the board. And now I'm desoldering the button. It is on 4 legs, so I need to drive a little bit around on each of the pin to make sure that it will be constantly heated, so you can easily remove it. It's not that hard, I would say. As you can see, I'm circling around and pulling on the other side. And done. So the next step is we need to clean all the holes to make a place for new analog modules. So I'm giving on each pin a little bit of solder flux. Not too much, but enough to cover each pin. And now, using solder wick and my tool, we will suck all the remaining solder iron. The wick will suck it up, and we should get the clean holes without anything covering them. This is the moment when you need to be a bit slower. You don't need to hurry up with this. Also, don't put your soldering iron too long, because as you have seen, I set 430 degrees Celsius on my soldering iron. It's a little bit too much, but the reason is I have more practice by working with this stuff. Plus I'm trying to keep it not too long to not overheat the board, otherwise you could rip off some of traces or pads and you could basically damage your controller, so you just need to be careful with this. If you are a beginner, you can start from 300 degrees, 350 degrees. It may take a little bit longer, but you will have less possibility to destroy your board of the controller. As you see, from time to time I'm switching the sides because sometimes the solder wire is going into the other side, so it might be a little bit tricky, but the end result should be good. Yeah, we need to clean everything. Otherwise it will be difficult to put new modules in. Yeah, if the wick is already soaked with the iron, you just need to cut it and start from a fresh part, so it will not bend over, it will not wiggle around your hand. Plus it's extra hot as well, so from time to time, if it's soaked already, just cut it off and take the new part and try to desolder again. Here you see I added a bit of solder wire. It's because the part that stuck inside was hard to get, so I added a little bit of fresh one. This is something that helps you to suck it completely. Yep, now I'm just adding extra touch, and as you can see, all holes are empty, so we have a place to put new modules in. But first thing I will do, I will use isopropyl alcohol and toothbrush, and we need to clean all the flux from the board. It is sticky and it basically might make your work a little bit harder, so each time after desoldering all the stuff, I'm cleaning the board from both sides using a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. Now the second side. And yeah, final touches. And that's it. Everything is clean. We can start putting new modules. First one of the leg was a little bit on the side. Yeah, I just straightened it up, and yeah. And I will put the flux on two legs across, just to make sure to position it in the right place. I will put fresh solder wire, and I'm pushing it towards the board as hard as I can to make sure that it will have no space between the board and the stick module. We need to make it aligned with the board properly. Now I will do the same stuff with the second module. So flux across. A little bit of solder wire, and one side, let it dry and lower the temperature, and second side. Small correction, and done. Now we can put the flux on all of the other pins. Yeah, I used my staff to position the board. And now we will just solder all the pins to the board. Don't hurry. Slower you will do this, more precise it will be. You need also to watch out. You can see on the right side you have those plastic connector to the R2 and L2 buttons. Those are very sensitive when it gets hot, so you don't want to touch with your solder wire or soldering iron to this, otherwise you might destroy it, and it's really difficult to replace those. So try to avoid any plastic elements and do not touch them with hot stuff. And done. Now the second part of the cleaning. We need to clean the solder flux. Again, isopropyl alcohol and a toothbrush. Don't worry if you will use too much. The isopropyl alcohol is not conductive and it's very safe to electronics, so even if you will use too much, just let it dry out and your board is perfectly fine. So don't worry. As you will see right now, I will even clean the space between the analog modules and the board, because the flux is everywhere and we don't want to let it be there because it's sticky, and if you will not clean it under at some point, your analog stick might also start to be a little bit sticky and not working properly. And now I will dry it out using my blow tool from AliExpress. It's pretty good. You can see that everything around is trying to escape. That's how powerful this tool is. Now wiping all the stuff, I will also wipe the connectors, the place where your motherboard is connecting with your front panel buttons, those black ones. Exactly those. Yeah, you need to clean those because some solder flux might be there as well, preventing from the perfect contact of those pads. And that's it. We have analogs installed. So now I will start assembling everything, but first things first, I will need to clean my place around. And let's get started. Remember about speakers, I'm always forgetting about this little bastard. Installing caps, push them very hard. Don't worry, you will not break anything. Now remove aside cables and we need to place the motherboard in. Now we need to solder all the cables as they were before. If you have problems to recognize which one should goes where, you can see that the most bottom and the most upper one has letters next to them. There is a letter on the board written. One is Y for yellow color and one is R for the red one. And the rest of them are working in pairs. So red one is paired with the black one, so it will be always next to it, and the green one is paired with the yellow one, so it will be always also next to the yellow one. So you will not mislead or just install the wrong cable at the wrong place knowing that. Or you can just remember from the bottom of the control that it's red, black, green and yellow on the both sides. Yeah, now we are installing all the stuff. I forgot about microphone in the right moment. Now I'm installing the microphone. By the way, this is the newest revision of the controller. If I'm not mistaken, it's BDB060. You can recognize it because it has only one microphone. All the older revision of DualSense controllers had two microphones. One was installed on the front, like the one that I'm installing right now, and the second one was part of this black battery holder. But in this revision we have only one. And now a screw. Then battery. Ah yeah, a little bit of cleaning. Then battery. That's right. And we can start closing the shell. 4 screws, 2 at the bottom on each side. And basically it's almost done, and after assembling all the stuff you just need to calibrate your controller using a popular website. It's pretty straightforward, so I will not show it on this video. Eventually you can put the comment down below if you would like to see how to configure, how to calibrate controls. I can do a separate video about it, just let me know. Yeah, I was struggling a little bit here, so I needed a small correction and alignment on this front panel, but it finally went down. Yeah, and that's it. Everything's done. Mission complete. We have TMR sticks. Thank you for watching.